Hi, I'm Elise Morales.
And I'm Millie Tamaris.
And this is
Go
Touch Grass, the podcast where we log in
so you can log off.
Millie and I are two chronically online comedians, and on this pod, we break down the week in internet discourse, viral memes, TikTok trends, and niche influencer drama so you can go do literally anything else.
And if you like what you hear today and want to hear more, we got to Go Touch Grass Patreon with tons more content weekly, access to our Discord community, and our spin-off series, Search History. We go back and break down a viral discourse from the past. This week's episode, it was the Doja Catastrophe, aka one of the many conversations, controversies of Doja Cat. There's so much
that caused a lot of conversations.
Yeah,
there were conversations as well.
And controversies. It was so much. You should definitely check it out.
Yeah. One of our most online celebs in the way that you said, which is that like in a 4chan way, which is very interesting.
Yeah, she's again one of the pop stars who are probably our only pop star who's ever been a moderator.
Yeah. Our only mod pop star. And if you want to understand what that means, go listen to our Patreon. And don't forget to leave us a 5-star rating and review. We love your reviews. We need more of them. But the best review you can give us is to tell your friends. Tag us in a little story. You know that we're online. We always repost.
And speaking of reposting, we repost our video episodes on Saturdays. So we turn the audio to video and repost them every Saturday. So you can please follow us on YouTube. Go Touch Grass on YouTube. Please, please, please. We are having so much fun. We're getting so many fun comments on our YouTube. We appreciate everyone who takes the time to listen to us over there.
Yeah, absolutely.
New episodes every Saturday. Yeah.
And it's just us today. We are virtual. We both had like long weekends away. So it's nice to be relaxing, doing an episode from my apartment personally. Yeah, you were at a bachelorette party.
I was at a bachelorette party. It was a lot. It was crazy. It was fun, but I'm tired and feeling all kinds of things. So glad to, have a little, not even a break, but a little respite from the studio life.
Exactly. And I was upstate at a wedding, and I feel the exact same way. Had a great time. It was wonderful. I'm very tired, but I'm energized to talk about today's discourse.
Okay.
So, before we get into it, Millie, are you watching Love Island at all?
I feel like I watch the memes and I follow the memes and I kind of know some of the characters, but I feel like it's so much. It's every night or something, right?
Yeah, it airs every single day, which we'll discuss more about that in a minute. But yeah, no, Love Island. Have you ever watched a season of Love Island before, UK or US?
I tried to watch one episode and I couldn't get into it because at the end of the day, you're watching like really hot people try to connect emotionally, and the conversations are tough. They're like really rough to watch. Like just people who, conversations aren't their forefront all the time. So
yeah, there's a very particular way that Love Island people talk and relate to each other that I think has to be in some way initiated by production. I feel like there's like, I think I've heard before that they're only supposed to really talk about things that are going on inside the villa and their connections. They're not really supposed to talk about like anything else. Like you could talk about maybe like your family and stuff, but that means that like they're just kind of having the same conversation over and over again, which is like, do you like me? Do you find me hot? I find you hot. What do you want for your future? What would we be like outside the villa? Like it's the same conversation over and over for 60 episodes. But I do love Love Island. I will say I have structured this discourse in such a way that 1, there will be no spoilers, and 2, if you haven't watched Love Island, it's not really relevant because we're talking about it today because this season of Love Island, as other seasons of Love Island has brought up a very common discourse online, a moral panic maybe rightly so, but it is discourse around how much filler is too much filler for a young woman to have. This, I feel like, is like what, I feel like it's a discourse that's always constantly happening, and then it'll like a certain picture will come out, like they'll get one of Kylie Jenner at like a certain angle, and then suddenly it's like flares back up again in a bigger way. And there's a particular Love Island contestant who has flared it up again, basically.
Yeah, and it's tough because it's tough. It's what you and Katie talked about like on our episode of the Bitcoin worm bath, where it's
Yes.
like everyone can do whatever they want, but sometimes you see a face that's so, I don't want to say crazy, but like so intensely filled that it spurs discomfort. And it's
Yeah.
especially hard to see a real, like, because we've seen completely crazy botched faces. It's not just young people who get bullied about it. People have been bullying Lauren Sanchez about it. All the Real Housewives, there's always someone on the season where you're like, whoa. But when it's a young person, there is like, when someone who's under 30 has a lot of fillers and stuff, it really sparks
Yeah.
something.
Yeah. And I think in general, when you start to see the extreme end of beauty trends, it is always going to spark a conversation. Like, we're not talking about situations where it's like someone has a little filler and they're being shamed for like whatever, or like they kind of maybe got a little too much in their lips, whatever. We're talking about when people have kind of an extraordinary amount of filler and what that
Mm-hmm.
means. And that conversation has been sparked by a Love Island contestant named Vanna Einerson. So, Vanna has come into the village into the village. Vanna has come into the villa as a Casa Amor bombshell. Do you have any idea what those words mean at all?
I think Casa Amor is like, my understanding, it's kind of like the fantasy suites or something, where it's like, I don't know. Actually, explain it to me. I'm like,
So Casa, they do have a thing that's like fantasy suites, which is a bachelor thing called the Hideaway, where like a couple can win a chance to go sleep alone in the Hideaway, because in Love Island everyone sleeps in one room that's full of like 7 giant beds, but sometimes you
so
can go be
yeah.
alone.
Explain the premise of Love Island in general, really quickly, and then
Yes.
Casa Amor.
Okay, so the premise of Love Island in general, really quickly, is that they bring a bunch of hot, young, single people to a villa in a beautiful location. Right now in US, it's Fiji. And you have to get into a couple and stay coupled up, basically. You not necessarily always in the same couple, but the way that you would get kicked out of Love Island is if, when there is a recoupling, which is what they call it, you are the one who is left single, you can get the boot. And then there's also this element of, because it airs every day, people can vote. So like sometimes the public will vote, and as a result of that, someone is kicked off the island. Like, people can randomly be booted from the island at any time. And the idea is for you to explore your connections with all these people, find the right couple for yourself, and at the very end, the couple that the public votes that they like the most gets $50,000. And I think technically one person could like steal the money or whatever, but I don't think that's ever happened. They always just stay a couple and split it, because people are mainly going on to be like influencers and like
Yeah.
gain public attention. So I'm pretty sure no one's ever actually stolen, but that is technically something you can do. So it's like a classic reality dating show, but the thing that's different about it is that it airs every day, and they're just stuck like Big Brother style, which like it came out of the UK, so that kind of makes sense. They're stuck Big Brother style in this villa, and they do all sleep in one room that has like 9 giant beds in it. And Casa Amor is the ultimate relationship test. Casa Amor is when they split the girls and the guys up, and they now are in separate villas, and they bring in 4 or 5 new bombshells. So bombshells are when they bring a new person in to like shake things up, and the narrator goes, "A new bombshell has entered the villa." And it's they can happen at any time. But Casa Amor is basically like they get sent to a house with all bombshells, and all bombshells are brought in for the guys and the girls, and it's meant to test the connections that had already been developed. And at the end, you might end up choosing the girl you met in Casa or the guy you met in Casa or your original connection. And if you basically, like, it's like a thing where, like, if you decide to stay, but your man comes back from Casa and he picks the other girl, then suddenly you might be like kicked out of the villa. So it's all stuff like that. These like couplings and recouplings. But the big thing is that everyone is very, very hot and very, very young. I think in the UK there have been some people who were like max maybe like 33, but it's mostly young people in the villa. Vanna came in as a Casa Amor bombshell. So that means like the original girls went away, the guys stayed at the villa, and then these 4 new girls came in and you meet them, and one of them is Vanna. Vanna is 21. She is from Salt Lake City, Utah, and she has a lot of fillers. This is her like image to get into Love Island. From here, I feel like you can't really like, I mean, I don't want to speak for you, but is anything jumping out particularly about this image to you?
Yeah, I mean, there is a lot going on with the fillers. And if you would have told me, like, she's 41,
Yeah.
like, I would have believed. Like, it looks like, what fillers kind of are intended to is to make people who are older look younger, supposedly, with no wrinkles and no thing. So you fill the wrinkly skin with stuff to like make it look more youthful. In this way, if you said she was 35, I mean, not even 35, I would say 39, 40, 45, like, I believe you.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I wouldn't say that she jumps out as looking old to me necessarily. I would maybe think that she was in her like early 30s or later 20s, but also I do just think that we are conditioned to, when we see someone with a certain amount of filler, to assume they're a little bit older even than they look. Now, I will say that she is from Salt Lake City, Utah, which Salt Lake City is actually the capital of filler, like per capita. They it's the Mormon thing where they're like obsessed with perfection, etc. So when she comes in, she's like, I'm a classic Salt Lake City girl. That's like, I look exactly like a classic Salt Lake City girl. And so I think that maybe like some of this is also just like normalized for her in a different way. But basically, she comes in and people start taking screenshots. And this image that we're looking at right now is like her headshot to go into the villa. So it's probably also touched up and shit. This is what she's looking like on the show. So the creases in her face are looking really intense. It's that thing where, like, again, you'll get a picture of Kylie Jenner from a weird angle and you can like actually see the filler from not from like dead on the way it's supposed to see, and you start to be like, oh shit, this is looking a little crazy. So here's one picture of her that was going around a bunch. Then a lot of people are showing that she has this crazy chin filler. Like her chin is just really long. Her cheeks are really full. Here's the chin filler from another angle and the lip filler. Like it's just looking pretty intense. I don't know. What are your reactions to seeing the her from the different angles?
It's pretty sad. It's just crazy. I mean, the image of the moon guy with sunglasses, like that commercial, it's very much giving that with the chin.
Yeah. The chin freaked me out when I saw it from the side and people were showing it to me. I was like, oh shit.
The chin freaks me out. Yeah.
Yeah, and the lips are looking, this particular image that we're looking at, and as always, I will share them on Instagram at some point on the day that the episode comes out. I do have to get my other work done first. I'm sorry, guys, but you will be able, if you Google Vanna Chin Love Island, you'll also be able to pull this image up pretty quickly. So basically, this sparks a couple different conversations. First, it's we've got to talk about filler, and we have to start calling this stuff out so that people stop normalizing it. So that's kind of like one facet of the conversation that is happening. Then there's a second facet of the conversation that's happening about not telling young girls that filler is preventative, because it starts to come out in a bunch of different videos that Vanna has probably been getting filler since she was like 16. Like basically people start going back and like, I mean, people are crazy, but they go back, you know, far in her Instagram, other people's Instagrams, they start finding like her yearbook photos and stuff. And you start to see basically in her yearbook photos, her starting to get lip filler around the age of 16, which is really early to be messing with your face. So, you know, people are having that conversation. And then at the same time, because it's the internet, always there's backlash to the backlash. And as we know, there's a second chorus of people who are like, this is mean. Vanna is beautiful. We shouldn't be talking about her like that. You can't talk about anybody's face. We shouldn't make her the center of this conversation to protect her mental health, because a lot of people are, you know, I think rightfully pointing out that as this conversation is happening, she's on this island. She has no fucking idea that people...
this is filmed in real time.
Yes, because it's real time. Like, she has no idea that, like, her face is going viral in a bad way. And, like, what does that mean for someone? So I wanted to take time. Let's solve all of the conversations as we always do.
Oh, boy.
How do you feel about these various avenues?
Okay, I will just say a disclaimer. We were talking about her, not disclaimer, but like something that I was thinking. We were talking about her chin and her face from the side, from a profile. Not many people have nice profiles.
Say that about myself?
Yeah,
no.
I'm sure if you see my face from the side, like, I'm not happy about it. Like, you know, so there's that. Like, that's something that's tough for a lot of people. And even just in general, I mean, there's just no way that you can look good from every single angle all the time. I think we even talk about it on this podcast where, you know, I'm walking and I'm wearing a cute outfit and I think it looks good. And then I'm sitting down and it looks fucking awful, or like it just doesn't look the way that I thought. So there's that conversation.
Or like photos come back from a show and you like know you looked so cute, and then every photo I'm like, why? Yeah, like what the fuck happened to me? I looked in the mirror before I left. I said, this looks good. I look good. And then the show photos come back and I'm like, who the fuck is that?
Yeah. And I also will say, as someone who watches Housewives pretty often, like different seasons and stuff, it has happened where like these housewives are in the day-to-day. I'm thinking specifically, there was this woman, Lisa, who kind of looks a little like Vanna, honestly. She's Lisa and she's from Real Housewives of Miami. And her husband was a plastic surgeon. So she went on and she had like really intense, like what they call it, like cat face, where's when somebody has a lot of fillers and a lot of Botox and stuff, like that same like Mar-a-Lago kind of cat face.
Yeah.
And after the season aired, she was like, oh, I'm gonna like chill out. Like I'm actually getting like, she didn't really like in her day-to-day and in her life, she didn't notice it. And it wasn't until she saw herself on TV, she's like, oh wow, this is like, I can kind of see that, you know. So
totally,
I'm giving grace for both of those things before we talk about like,
no, totally. And like to your point, number one, this girl is 21. She's in a place where filler, more a higher level of filler is like the baseline, because again, Salt Lake City is like the capital of filler, Botox, all of that stuff per capita, like for, you know, whatever variety of cultural reasons. But either way, maybe her like mental standard for what filler, what level of filler a person has is warped. And then you know that these girls, before they're going on Love Island, are like, give me every laser, do my lips, do that. Like they're also, I think she might have also overfilled in preparation for Love Island too. Like she was like, oh my God, I have to look my best. And then it ended up coming out looking over the top in
Yeah.
a way that maybe she can't even totally clock because the world she lives in has already kind of an over the top amount of filler. So there's definitely that. I mean, when people try to say like, "Oh, we can't talk about this, like we can't discuss this." I've been thinking a lot about that because on the one hand, I do feel bad for this girl that she's going to come
Mm-hmm.
back from Love Island and find out that everyone's been calling her Jigsaw and like taking pictures of her chin and like
I saw pictures. I don't watch Love Island. Don't know nothing about this girl. I've seen pictures of her high school, like her yearbook,
yeah, exactly.
because whatever. So
Exactly. That's what's crazy too is it's like and people have been going back and like digging up your past and trying to figure out when you had filler like I that would be a crazy experience. And also, Love Island is a show where you are kind of signing up to be have your face
yeah.
and body judged. And I know that there's like a victim blamey sound to that, but like she's not she signed up to go on Love Island, and part of what Love Island is that you wear a bikini the entire time and like do challenges where you like are sexy and like make out with people. You're like there is an element of almost you're putting yourself up on like hot or not or some
Mm-hmm.
shit.
Mm-hmm.
And you are going to get feedback on what you look like because that's what the show is.
Yeah. I mean, that's tough. Yeah, it's like she signed up to whatever. Did she sign up for people to look at her high school pictures? I don't know, but like that is a consequence, and I think that like it is something that because a lot of young people watch this shit too. Like, I mean, not only just I know like my high school niece watches it and stuff like that, and it's just like it's tough because it's like I don't want to be like, well, you need to have a good like example for your young girls. I'm never like that. Like they're gonna get whatever, but at the same time, like it is important to show like, oh, this is what happens when you go too far, and like I think that you know this whole perfection and the Salt Lake City like of it all, it's just like they're doing and preventative and it's all this stuff like they're doing preventative Botox at 20 because it's like they want to avoid ever looking older, ever having a wrinkle, or ever having anything different, like not perfect.
Yeah.
There is something there of like, oh, would it be like this bad if you didn't do anything, or like what's going on? And then also like your body, just like with deodorant, just like with conditioner, your body gets resistant to stuff and you need to do more or different and less than that. So like if you're starting Botox and all this shit at 20s in your 20s, like what are you going to be doing by the time you're 30 or 40 or 50 or 60?
I know
That
and
is
I
the argument.
totally. And I think that the people who are saying, like, hey, we actually do have to have this conversation, which I think is kind of the camp that I come down in. And I mean this conversation in terms of like extreme over the top filler and Botox. I think again, as we've said many times on the podcast, like if you want to get a little filler or a little Botox, I don't like you can do whatever you want. But when it gets to what we're talking about with this with Vanna, where it's like it feels and looks very extreme, I think it is important to have the conversation about like, hey, this actually doesn't look good and isn't good for you. And unfortunately, when you go on like a reality show or make the leap to become a public person, you could end up being the public person that sparks that.
Well, it's just like, sadly, you know, it's just like, I mean, sadly part of being a woman, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like people are always going to look at your looks first and like really overanalyze you with a fine-tooth comb. It's kind of a lot because and I've been guilty of it too, especially with people I don't like who I think are terrible. Like it is something of like, how dare you come on a public facing platform and look like shit? Is
Yeah.
like one side of it. If you don't have any filler, if you don't do your makeup, if you don't, then people are like, did you know you were going to come on TV? And then the other side is like, if you do too much, if you over anticipate, then people are like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I mean, it is a double-edged sword. Like, there's no way that the women who go on this show could ever just like roll up and not be, you know, putting a completely perfect face on in the middle of fucking Fiji every single day. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
I get why, as a 21-year-old who again lives in a place where people have a ton of filler, you would be like, okay, I'm going on Love Island, fill her up, you know, and
And
then
yeah,
you
because it
don't even
lasts you
realize.
for a few months too. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. So it's like, I mean, my hope would be that maybe for her, this, what you described from this Real Housewife happens, is that she's like, okay, actually, I'm going to pull it back. Like, maybe it was just like her being overzealous going on this show. It is funny because people keep being like, people talk about it online in a funny way where like they'll use the word plastic surgery, but I'm like, it's not really plastic surgery what she's doing. She's just getting, I mean, maybe she's gotten some
Injectables, yeah.
stuff. Like maybe she put like an implant in her chin or something, but I think it's all just fucking filler. She's just loading up her face with filler, which on the bright side, like you can get dissolved, you can get removed, you can like make a choice to change it. Um, which hopefully she does. The other like kind of element of this is that Love Island has a very intense history with like bullying and mental health issues and shit
Yes.
like that. Like, especially on the UK version, there are actually two different former contestants and the former host, Caroline Flack, all took their own lives, and
That's
they're
crazy.
all complicated stories in their own right, but like the increased public scrutiny of being a Love Island contestant or the host all contributed in some way to those deaths. And like, especially when it comes to the contestants, again, because the show airs every day and you're like voting on who your favorite is, I think people do develop a parasocial and also like dehumanized relationship with these people.
Yeah, and it's like they're not human beings. And also, like, I think I saw that this season they've had to make super, like,
Yeah, I'm about to talk about
disclaimers.
that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I'll get into that truly in like 2 seconds. Um but so okay, because of like this stuff with Caroline Flack and the other different contestants, ITV, which is like the producer of Love Island, I think they're like the British producer, they've had to implement all these different reforms with like a pre-show psychological screening. They have mandatory social media training, which I don't know what that means, but I think it might be like, don't read the comments. I know a
Yeah.
lot of them hand their social media off to someone while they're on the island.
Probably
So
smart, so they can
I mean,
delete all
yeah.
the things. Because I can't imagine what that transition, like, even for her, like,
Yeah.
they have to do a lot of mental health stuff because it's like they're in this island without TV, internet, books, movies for weeks,
Yeah.
and then you go back on your phone and you're going to get 1,000 comments calling you an ugly bitch, like
Yeah, and
that.
yeah, no, like you and I both know what it's like to get one comment calling you an ugly bitch just like in
Like
real time.
every week, yeah, one. And
And it's
it's like, can the even getting two in one week, you're like,
yeah, I mean, it actually is painful. So I literally like, as much as I do think there is a valid conversation to have around why a 21-year-old would show up on this show with this level of filler and like what that means, I do fucking feel bad for this girl because she's gonna turn her phone on thinking she went on Love Island as a bombshell looking amazing and is gonna find out that actually everyone's been like zooming in on her chin and like saying all of this stuff. Like, that's has to be extremely overwhelming. And she's not even like the only contestant that is discourse inducing in this way. She's the one she's inducing the filler discourse, but
yeah.
there's another contestant, Huda, who people love to hate to love, etc. And she's been getting just a ton of online conversation to the point where I guess people were like contacting her family.
Oh my God, yeah.
She has a child, and like the father of her child had to like post something to be like, this is getting crazy. You know, like even her baby daddy had to be like, she's a real person, like this is toxic, the negativity is really insane. So yeah, they have access to mental health support, and there are these like social media protections. But even still, Love Island USA has now had to issue 2 different cyberbullying related warnings this season. So first, after while all the like Huda stuff was going on, because also people were like, people don't like Huda, they think she's like toxic, whatever, but she hasn't committed any crimes, and people are like, she should be kicked off the show for being toxic. And I'm like, what do you want reality TV to be?
Yeah, it's like
You can't kick someone off a reality show for being toxic. That's the fucking point.
The point. Yeah. I heard that like she reacted to something like in a way that a normal person wouldn't react, or she was acting crazy, and it's like, and like she has borderline they're like diagnosing her with
people are trying
personality disorder.
Which again, she's just on Love Island, and she's like being, I don't know, she's the drama. She's the dramatic one. Every fucking reality show has to have one person who's the drama, and she's the drama, but she's not even really doing anything that crazy. She's just like getting real mad at her couple guy, or like getting upset over like gameplay related stuff. I feel like for Love Island to work, there always has to be one person who gets mad over like the shit they have to do in the show, because in the show you end up always having to like kiss each other and play these like flirty games and do these challenges, and she's the one who will get like jealous during the challenges. But you need that person.
That's what they want.
Exactly. That's why she's fucking there. You can't kick her out for that. But anyway, she was creating all this discourse before Casa Amor even happened, before we even got Vanna. So while all this stuff with Huda was going on, Ariana Madix, who is the host of Love Island USA, formerly of Vanderpump Rules, there's a thing, their after show is called After Sun. It's like every 4 episodes, one of the episodes is After Sun, and I never watch it. But apparently during After Sun, Ariana Madix made a statement about the bullying, saying, Love Island has the best fans across the entire globe. Passionate, and I love that. There's such a great, amazing communal experience when it comes to watching the show. But I do want to say to some of those who are online, don't be contacting people's families. Don't be doxing people. Don't be going on Islanders' pages and saying rude things. Please be nice, or I'll come find you. So she had to like make this kind of statement, I think, because people were like finding Huda's family and trying to be like, she has borderline personality disorder, whatever the fuck. Trying to like be like, what's wrong? Trying to like mess with like, I think the custody of her daughter. People are crazy.
Oh my God. And it's like, if you watch a TV show and you see something that, like somebody being toxic, but you decide to like contact Child Protective Services, babe, you have borderline.
Right? It's like, okay, I need you are so right that like the type of person who would do that, okay, I want to see you on a villa, no contact with the outside world, filmed 24/7, 7 days a week. You have to play little sexy games with people, and I want to see how you act, and I want to see if you're perfectly sane the entire time, because I'll tell you what, I wouldn't be.
No.
I wouldn't be. Camera on you 24/7, and like she was brought there to be dramatic. She's being dramatic. She's not like, it's not like Jax Taylor on The Valley, which is a whole other thing where you have like an actually abusive person who's scary, who is using the fact that he's on television to like continue to be abusive and scary. This is like someone who's on Love Island who's being Love Islandy.
And also just like whether or not she has something or doesn't, like it is like her having an outsized reaction to something that you don't think would make, like if she was in a normal situation and somebody that she liked or somebody that she was dating went on a date with someone else, she would go to the club, go to a workout class, hang out with her daughter, watch a movie, maybe rest for a week. She can't do any of that. You can't literally do any of that. You don't have access to any of that. Should call her family, have a nice check-in, spend time. Like, there are all these things that we do in our day-to-day that like help us de-escalate our reactions and emotionally regulate, that by nature of this show is not there. And that's
Totally.
what intensifies the drama.
Exactly. Like they purposefully create an emotionally intense environment anyway. So you can't be judging a person's behavior when they're in the Love Island villa with how they actually like parent their child in the real world. So that happens. Then on June 24th, so a fairly recent episode, they had to actually put a statement out on the show. So this is at this point, Vanna is in the mix, and people online, you know, if you type in Vanna Love Island on TikTok, you're going to see hundreds and hundreds of videos of people talking about this. So they put out a statement on the show that says the key word in Love Island is love. We love our islanders. We don't love cyberbullying, harassment, or hate. And then a follow-up post on their Twitter account said, we appreciate the fans, the passion for the series, and the amazing group of islanders who are sharing the summer with us. Please just remember they're real people. So let's be kind and spread the love. So, yeah, I guess I wanted to round out this discourse with just like, how do you talk about someone on a reality show in a way that also takes into account that like they are a person with the ability to be like mentally affected by what's being said?
And maybe like, I don't think the solution is don't talk about anyone ever at all. Like, I don't think that, but I think like have your conversations be your conversations. Like, if you want to have a discussion about things, like don't tag, don't go on their pages. Like, there are ways to talk about people online where it's like, and unless they're searching their own name and seeking it out, like they are not getting access to this, you know? I feel like
Yeah.
that's kind of a healthy way because people are going to talk about it. Ultimately, that's kind of, I mean, I don't think people want someone to talk about their face or someone's face or something, but it's like, um, people are going to talk about the show. They're going to talk about their contestants. They're going to point out things like that's kind of what the network wants.
And
And the
it's what the
network,
show
that's what the
is,
show
too.
is.
Like, it's a show that actually very specifically courts public opinion. They literally are like asked to vote on you throughout the entire thing. And it also very specifically is about the very sexy physical appearances of all of the people on the show. So I do think when you go on Love Island, you are in a way co-signing a certain amount of that attention, but it does cross a line when people are contacting families. If
No,
people are
yeah.
going on her actual page and being like, you're ugly, like,
That's crazy, yeah.
yeah, I think that you really hit the nail on the head where it's like, it's one thing to be having a conversation, it's another thing to be like going directly to that person, to their page, to their shit, to their fucking family, to their DMs, and being like, I think you have too much filler. I think you're ugly. I think that
It's
you're
like, what do you
stupid.
want her to do about it, you
Yeah.
know? Um, yeah, I just think, and I think too, it's important to know. I mean, I like to say that reality TV, just to do like in the gender binary, like whatever, but like traditional, like kind of lame gender stereotypes, but like I like to liken a lot of reality TV to like sports, and how people talk about reality TV show contestants, especially like again, Housewives is like a really good one to like the NFL and to all this stuff. And people talk about like their gameplay this season, a new person. Like that's kind of the way that people are talking about this, you know? And people know that like, yeah, so just like in gameplay and in the NFL, people talk about like, oh, the way that they look is, you know, altering their performance, or the way that they look is getting. I mean, we talk about this with Jalen Hurts. Like a lot of people find him attractive, and like he gets like resentment from other quarterbacks and all this stuff. Like those are all going to be parts of the conversation. and especially when it's centered around love and being sexy. But it's like, yeah, like what is discourse and what is attacking?
Yeah.
And
Yeah. The difference
yeah,
between discourse and actually attacking someone is a huge thing to think about. And like, I just can never imagine actually going to just a regular reality star's page who actually didn't even do anything. Like, she's not. The other thing is, like, she's not doing anything bad on the show. People just think she has too much filler. So, like, to
and
actually
ultimately
go to
she's just
her,
hurting herself. Like
I
if she
know.
has wants to have a lot of filler, like that's her right. Sadly, she doesn't owe anybody a fucking non-filled face. Like, should there be is this going to spark conversation with like younger people and other people of like, hey, whatever, do we need this, what is going on with society, this and that? Is it ethically fucked up for a person? Where did she get her filler? Is that the
Yeah.
standard? Should you go there? Like those are conversations that are going to come up. Are you like Vanna personally like a petition for her to not get filler? Like come on.
Yeah. It's just, again, people take shit too far. It honestly reminds me of like what we were talking about in our Rebecca Black Patreon episode, where like it's one thing to be like, oh, haha, this song is funny. It's another thing to send threats to a 13-year-old girl's school. Like, people
Yeah.
just
A
take
bomb
shit.
threat to the school because you don't like the song.
Yeah, people just take shit way too fucking far. All right, so now I'm going to move us along to a quick TikTok because we do have to talk about our hopefully new mayor of New York City. Last week, 33-year-old Democratic Socialist Zohran Mamdani won the Democratic primary to be the mayor of New York City. Millie, the news media is scrambling to figure out how this radical leftist became in how this radical leftist could have possibly beaten a disgraced sex pest who also lied about killing old people in COVID.
Yeah.
For
Who
anyone
cut
who
the
doesn't,
MTA?
yeah, who cut the MTA, who, when asked why he sexually harassed his coworkers, he said he was just Italian. We're talking, of course, about Andrew Cuomo. Um, some may say that Zohran won because of the strength of his policies and his desire to address the affordability crisis in New York. Some may say it's because he is not a disgraced sex pest who lied about killing old people in COVID. But the mainstream media has settled on one narrative, and it is this: he won because TikTok. How familiar are you with Zohran's TikTok?
I mean, I think that he ran a really good campaign that we
Yeah.
want to see, that we have been talking about, like me and you as political commentators for over I mean, me for 5 years,
Yeah.
you for even
No.
longer, like 11 years of this shit. Like, he is running the campaign that we have been excited for Democrats to run for a long time, which is like lots of videos explaining policy, explaining deadlines, and keeping it on message and not being, again, we have talked about like for the longest time, the right Republicans have been making every conversation, have been making like they want to talk about something, they're bringing up something, they talk about it, and then Democrats just react. And what Zoran has been doing is making an offensive, proactive, like campaign that's like, actually, this is my campaign thing. It's not a response to like doing what Republicans do but more humane, which I feel like has been what Democrats have been doing. Like, if Republicans are talking about immigrations, Democrats are going to talk about immigrations. If Republicans are going to talk, and what Zoran is saying is like, no, I'm going to talk about new things, I'm going to explain it really quickly in short videos, and you're going to actually see me do stuff. That has been his campaign on TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, all that stuff. And I feel like he did win that. Like,
Yeah, I think it's very reductive when I see stuff where people try to act like it's just because of his TikTok. It's also obviously because of his own charisma, his likability. His ground campaign was also really good. Like, he was
yeah,
out on the streets knocking on doors, literally physically meeting people, while Andrew Cuomo was doing nothing. Not one
hiding.
event, not nothing. But I do think like he did tap into almost that like how Obama's '08 campaign used Twitter and social media in a new way. I feel like he really cracked the code on like TikTok and Instagram. And if you go to his page, he has nearly 1 million followers. He has 986
I think that's
point.
like, sorry, because I saw he had 2 million like the other day.
Well, then maybe.
Let me look right now. Let me
Yeah,
check
no,
right
you might
now.
be right. I might be looking at like an affiliate Zoran
No,
account.
no, no, because it literally has gone like up 50 times. Yeah, 2.8 million.
Okay, yeah.
Since, but it was like 500,000 like before the election or something. So it is
Either way, like the thing is, if you look at his page, it's such a good mix of like him doing to camera stuff, him with famous people getting endorsements from them, him with AOC, him with Bernie, him with Emily Ratajkowski. But he also did a really good job of getting himself on other channels. So he has done Subway takes twice. Shout out to former guest
yeah,
Kareem Rama. But he did his first Subway takes in July 31st, 2024, like almost a year ago since he did his first Subway takes. And then right before the election, he did a second one where they're like responding to Cuomo ads. He went on that show Gaydar that's like it's like a trans woman and
yeah.
she interviews people in the park and asks them kind of like gay trivia questions. He went on that. He had this like, I guess there was a period of time where he was performing as a rapper named like Mr. Cardamom or something.
Great.
Great. But okay, so basically there was like this halal rap video. It's called like I'll insert it here. For time I won't have us
Yeah.
watch it, but like anyway, this video of him doing this rap goes viral. And I think, like, once again, conservatives try to be like, haha, look, like, what a loser. And people were actually just like, I don't know. I think it's fun. If we're ever going to elect 33-year-olds or anyone
Yeah.
from the millennial generation, they're going to have embarrassing videos. It's like how AOC, there was that video of her, like, dancing on a roof to some
Honestly,
song. Like these old people don't get it, and then they're like, "Look how embarrassing!" And young people are like, "No, I everyone has some embarrassing video of them somewhere."
I think it's like literally the tech, the phones, like while we were in like our generation was in college, whatever, it became easier to make music videos and things like that. And like
Yeah,
it's a fun, interesting like way to be creative and like honestly, embarrassingly, there are a ton of videos that I would make for people's birthdays just for fun. Like
yeah,
that's just the thing that people did, especially with YouTube where you can like upload your own videos. You don't have to go through like a distributor or anything. Like that's just
yeah.
it. Like
So I feel like there's just a generational divide there, and it's always these older people who try to be like, "Look at AOC dancing, how silly!" And it's like, I don't know. All of us have been on the internet for so long, like this is just not gonna hit. So, I mean, I think we answered the questions I want to answer, which was like, how much do we think social media had to do with his success? I think that it goes hand in hand with the fact that he's also a good candidate. Like, I don't think you can just win from TikTok, but it helps to have a good TikTok.
I think again, it's like he's using TikTok and social media in a way that I feel like even the right has been using like
Yeah.
effectively. Like we've talked about, the right is pretty effective with their campaigning and social strategy. It's literally like repeating very simple on message things, using influencers in the way like they really leveraged influencers in a really
Yes.
cool way of like people who their fan base would fuck with. The gaydar thing, that trans woman has her own followers that
Yes.
are, and like the subway takes, like Kareem, he is Arab and he has this fan base that leans a certain way. And then getting a politician that might be just like Joe Rogan uses right wing politicians, he gets JD Vance on. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's like that same thing of like, we don't need a Joe Rogan of the left to, like, people are like, oh well, we need someone to replicate Joe Rogan's actual formula, when it's like we don't really need that. We just need someone who's like speaking to people who would be interested in what they're talking about, where they're at, and to a point like it, the closest we got to that was Kamala Harris on Call Her Daddy. but just this guy just did it way more effectively, way more open, and again, I did a show with him. I did a comedy show where he showed up, and it was a bunch of people. It was like whatever, politically active people who like comedy, and he was there and he had a good time, and he like, again, it didn't feel like so, it's what we've been asking for a long
Yeah.
time, of like politicians that can feel like real people but are on message, but all this stuff. But it's so funny seeing how some people are reacting to him, like,
Yeah, well, I feel like before the election, there was also all this discourse where it's like, he's just online. He's not actually doing anything. He's just online. And it's like, no, he was
no.
actually doing both. And if you watch a lot of these videos, the videos are of him walking around real neighborhoods, talking to real people. If someone stops and wants to make a TikTok with him, he makes a TikTok with
He will
them.
do it. He's not like
And
too busy. So sorry,
yeah,
just to, like, one of his biggest campaign things was that he walked from Inwood, from the top of Manhattan to the
yep.
bottom of Manhattan, which is like, I know that like it's 13 miles from tip to bottom, but I think it might have been more like the route that he walked was like a long fucking walk, and he did it all day, and he stopped in every neighborhood and met a bunch of people, and they took a video and they made it like a 3-minute supercut. But I'm like, these are the kind of stunts, like Trump
Mm-hmm.
did that, went to McDonald's and made himself a fried cook. Like, these are just what people want to see.
Yes. And speaking of the current president, because he's been invoked, I did
Yes.
want to round this segment out by just reading his first of what I'm sure will be many
Mm-hmm.
posts about soon to be, hopefully, Mayor Mamdani. So Donald Trump posted on Truth Social after Zoran won the primary. It's finally happened. The Democrats have crossed the line. Zoran Mamdani, a 100% communist lunatic, has just won the Dem primary and is on his way to becoming mayor. We've had radical lefties before, but this is getting a little ridiculous. He looks terrible. His voice is grating. He's not very smart. He's got AOC +3 dummies all backing him, and even our great Palestinian senator crying Chuck Schumer is groveling over him. Yes, this is a big moment in the history of our country. I have an idea for the Democrats to bring them back into quote unquote play. After years of being left out in the cold, including suffering one of the greatest losses in history, the 2024 presidential election, the Democrats should nominate low IQ candidate Jasmine Crockett for president, and AOC +3 should be respectively vice president and 3 high level members of the cabinet, added together with our future communist mayor of New York City, Zoran Mamdani, and our country is really screwed. So,
Yeah. I mean, I love that cabinet.
I know, I was like,
I'm
I
like,
actually love the suggestion. What does AOC +3 mean? Like,
I
is that
think
like
it's the
Ilhan
squad,
Omar,
Ilhan,
Rashida
Rashida,
Tlaib,
Tlaib.
and then who's the third one?
Um, I don't know, because like Corey Bush and Jamal Bowman are out. Maybe, who's the one from Boston? Ayana,
Oh, yeah, Ayanna Presley?
Ronna Presley.
Maybe.
Maybe. I mean, it's hard to
Write
say,
in and
but
let us know if you know who the third of AOC +3 would be. I
but
mean,
I'm also
personally,
like, Democrats would never, because they'd have to include a white man somewhere in here, like in this
um,
cabinet lineup.
well, it is funny that he's proposing like a way more radical cabinet and ticket than Democrats would ever allow in a million years.
But would probably,
But would actually maybe have a chance of beating someone one of these days.
yeah,
It is interesting to me. I did expect the post to be more racist,
yeah,
though, as you and I talked about offline, he is racist towards Jasmine Crockett.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And
Um,
the
yeah.
thing is, like, people, I mean, this is kind of what Cuomo's kind of argument was like, you're going to be giving Trump the biggest gift because he'll be making fun of you and he'll call you communist. But the thing is, like, he calls everyone communist all the time, and he says everyone's a radical left liberal, that it actually, like, someone who is Zoran radically left liberal, no, he's a democratic socialist, which just means like he wants free healthcare and buses, whatever. But like, because he has cried wolf so many times, it doesn't really mean, it doesn't hold weight anymore. Because
No.
if you're calling Chuck Schumer a radical left liberal, if you're calling Adam Kissinger, if you're calling Liz Cheney a leftist,
Yeah.
then what does it mean anymore? It doesn't mean anything.
No,
And
it
who
means
cares?
nothing, but I just wanted to leave space for the first of what I'm sure will be many insane posts about Zoran. And now I think it is time for us to move on to
Yes,
Grasshole
yes.
of the Week.
We have Grasshole of the Week, and this week, our favorite type of grasshole. I mean, not our favorite type. One of our favorite types of grasshole
Okay.
is this type, and it is business owners posting through it on their
Yes.
business account.
Yes. Yes.
And
Yes.
this week, we have a company called Lashify.
Okay.
Elise, what do you know Lashify at all?
I feel like I've heard of Lashify. Like, I feel like I must get their ads somewhere because I get
Yes.
ads in general, and the word Lashify pings to me as something I've heard of before.
Yeah, so this week's grasshole is Lashify and its owner, Sahara Lodi. So before I explain Lashify, I have to explain Lash and Lash extensions.
Of course.
So Lash extensions, you can get falsies, you can get whatever. And basically, like the cheapest version, the most simple version is you can get it at a beauty supply store, a dollar store. You can even get lashes for $1, $2 that are basically you put glue on a strip, they're on a strip, and you attach it to your eyes, right? That is like the most basic thing. Then you start getting clusters, which is like instead of one strip, you get like a few clusters and you can put them on your lashes. And like kind of the least lashes that are together, the more realistic it looks. Or like kind of that's kind of been the same concept, except sometimes the quality, like sometimes it's just straight up plastic. Like if you get from the dollar store, it's just straight up plastic. You put it on for a party, whatever. Sometimes they're like quote mink or whatever higher quality thing, and like, or you can get individual wispies where you go to an actual lash technician and they'll attach like one by one lash hairs to your lashes to make your lashes look longer. So what happens? So with Lashify, again, you put the lashes on a strip and you put it over your eyes, right? Like right over your like on your lash line. What Lashify has said that they specialized in, that they invented, is putting in clusters, so not having a whole strip, but making in clusters so they look quote more natural, and using the under technique, which is instead of going over the lashes, you go under the lashes and you either put like you can put some glue on your lashes and clamp it down and put like a special glue, but basically that's it, right?
Okay.
So and they're saying they invented it. They have a page dedicated to counterfeits. So they have one page on the website that's dedicated to counterfeits and one page that's dedicated to like their patents.
Okay.
They like own all these patents. Basically what happens, so they have a thing about counterfeits, they have a thing about patents. They're very, very, very litigious. And also you can't just buy these lashes. You have to buy like a kit and the refill. So the kit comes with a fuse control wand, basically like special tweezers that are shaped a certain way. Then you get the lashes. You get 2 packs of lashes, the control wand, what like a one kind of glue, and then a waterproof sealer, which is a different kind of like glue seal, and then a control case, like a kit case. And all of that is for $125, which, to be fair, you can go to the dollar store and get like all that same shit. You can get tweezers, like lashes, whatever, for $5, all of that together. And you can go to a actual lash technician for about $100 and get them applied on yourself. This is again like you're supposed to do it yourself, but it's not that cheap.
Yeah.
This is also whatever. Okay. So with Lashify, this is from their website, under their counterfeits page. So they said, this is an excerpt. So it says, you're welcome to view our portfolio of over 750 patents worldwide. Any knotless lash product that is designed to fit underneath the lash is a counterfeit of Lashify. Any tool that wraps around the eye horizontally is a counterfeit of Lashify. If you do not understand patents, we strongly suggest speaking to a qualified patent attorney to educate yourself. What a Chinese manufacturer of Alibaba tells you is 100% irrelevant.
I love the tone of this on an official website from
No, exactly. So you already kind of get it. But I'm going to keep reading. So
yeah.
whatever. Target, Walmart, Ulta, Sally, CVS, all these companies must be held accountable for enabling infringement and allowing the counterfeiting to keep happening on American soil. All these companies have to do is simply ask, quote, is this patented? Do you have the authority to make this yet? Yet they do not ask these simple questions before distributing these counterfeits across the country. Therefore, women like myself have been getting stolen from for years, and many lives have been destroyed. This is from the company page, the company website.
I love that now we're she's revealing herself to be the author. Obviously the owner is writing this. That's very, very funny.
She says, one must wonder why they don't carry falsa iPhones, yet they continue to carry counterfeit beauty products. Other than myself, there are two main inventors in the Lash space. Alexia Brin, that invented the segmented strip lash, and Katie Stoka, that invented the magnetic lash. And magnetic lash is when you put a mascara that has bits of magnet in it and it stays attached, whatever. Both of them have lost everything due to infringement and the inability to defend themselves due to the millions of dollars required to litigate. I learned from them and strategized my approach accordingly. Then we're skipped more, and then it says, I am one woman fighting for my life's work. My hope is to set a precedent and help those that will come after me and vindicate those that came before me. It is important that the public understands what is happening. This behavior is not only unethical, it is a genuine threat to American innovation, the true creatives, innovators, and ultimately the American economy.
Ooh, okay. Yes. And ultimately the American economy.
Yes.
So, wow.
So it's important to know that Lashify has been involved in several lawsuits, most notably against Qingdao Lash Beauty Cosmetic Co. (World Beauty) for infringing on their last technology patents. And they won a $30 million judgment. They have also sued ProLash for similar reasons. So that's kind of like background on Lashify. So some criticism that people have in general is that people say cutting up strip lashes and making them into clusters is nothing new.
Yeah.
People do that. You can do that with dollar store. That's how people make dollar store lashes look better. The under technique, she did not invent it, right? Having a patent for something doesn't mean anything except for you were the first person to make the patent for it. We saw this with what is it? Demure, very
Jules.
Very mindful. So that doesn't mean anything. And also, people have pulled up a YouTube video of a black woman, doing a tutorial using that under technique that Lashify says that they created, that Sahara says she created it in 2016. There is a video on YouTube right now from 2015 with a black woman doing that same technique. So to say that this woman created it, whatever, right?
Yeah.
So there's that criticism. Then just to, before all of this, before she became Grasshole this week, the Lashify CEO got into a tiff with someone who I am going to propose should be a Grasshole Hall of Fame person, Bethany Frankel.
Absolutely. It's funny that we've never actually done Grasshole on her, because she is a Grasshole Hall of Famer. Absolutely needs to log off.
So Bethany Frankel, got in a thing with the Lashify CEO because back in February of this year, Bethany Frankel posted a collab with ProLash, which again, ProLash is one of the companies that Lashify is suing for, quote, copyright infringement or whatever.
Okay.
Bethany posted the collab with ProLash, and Ciara sent her all these texts and DMs saying like, hey, this is illegal. Like they have copyrighted my stuff. You are hurting women-owned businesses. You are now part of a legal counterfeit lawsuit because of your level of fame, blah, blah, blah. Bethany out, not to ever be out crazied,
Yeah.
is like, posted the screenshots, is like, do not fucking start with me. I don't fucking know you.
Yeah,
Blah
you
blah blah
can't
blah.
outpost a poster. Like,
Yeah,
that's never gonna
exactly.
happen.
And then Sahara apologized. So, um, I think overall, like, are these people copying her? Is this like, that is kind of like, yes, like that, is true sometimes, but it's also like that is kind of the nature of this business, especially with lashes. And basically what these companies that she's alleging is they're taking her product, making a way cheaper version of it and selling it for cheaper. And I like the perspective that this writer, Kirby Johnson, has made on her Substack, basically saying that people either they can't afford to spend $125 on do-it-yourself lashes,
Yeah.
even like ordering the lashes from the website. If you don't have a membership, or if you get it from, like, they could cost like $30. Sometimes they can cost 15 with a discount, but that is a lot compared to 5 or 10, you know? So there's that. And again, and Kirby Johnson made the argument saying that people might want, the under technique is not used often. It's not like the easiest. So people might want to practice that technique on with cheaper products and then maybe upgrade when they feel comfortable to a more premium lash.
Yeah,
So
because if you have to commit to this whole expensive kit, it's like I wouldn't even necessarily try that because I'm like, okay, what if I don't like this or I can't figure it out or I don't like how it looks?
What if I don't like how it looks? What if this? What if that? What if I'm allergic to it? There's a
Yeah.
lot there, So, why is she grasshole? Why this week, right? So one of the cheaper dupes, which is this lash line called You Cool Me, um, so they were available on TikTok Shop and Amazon, and just one day to another, people noticed that the store had been taken down. That you
Okay.
couldn't find it on Amazon, you couldn't find it on TikTok. The CEO of Lashify was like, "Yep, that was me. I took them down because they fucking copied me, and
Okay.
that's the reason why, because they have stolen my company." So people were pissed. People are saying, um, in a response to the Lashify, video of the CEO saying, "I'm the one who did it." Somebody commented and said, "There are so many cheaper lashes I use to make me feel confident. Now only super expensive ones are available because of how money hungry this economy is. Ugh, the rich are so annoying." So to that, the CEO of Lashify replied, "We literally created," and I'll share the screenshot. It's fucking crazy. In a video where, she's commenting and she's saying, "We literally created the first underlash with spikes." Oh my God. Because also they're saying that she's saying, we created manga lashes, which manga lashes are the super spiky lash.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So she's like, with spikes. "We've been here since 2017. You think Chinese dudes that don't wear lashes are designing these seriously?" So a lot of people kind of were like, whoa, that felt like a little racially charged. She started kind of responding, and then people started looking into her and Lashify's background, because there are a lot of people who didn't even look at Lashify because it was so expensive. Now they started looking, and they found like kind of racist, deeply concerning post from the Lashify account, specifically one, and we're gonna watch this video of an Asian creator sharing kind of different things. But one thing, and we will share this image, is that uh, there's a side by side picture, and it's like, meet Shannon, and Shannon is a white woman with like quote normal lashes, and
Mm-hmm.
then the other side is a white woman with really thick long lashes that they say are stacked, and it says,
Mm-hmm.
"Meet Shanae," which
Oh.
Shanae,
Ooh.
I have to say, is a character that Martin Lawrence used to play in
Yeah.
drag on his show Martin. Anyway, so
Mm.
let's see. So people were pissed, and then they dug into it, and they found a bunch of crazy thing, and now creator Jennifer No C, aka Jennifer Nguyen. Um, she posted this.
Just when you thought Lashify only wanted us to meet Shanae, there's Cha Cha too. Meet Charlene and meet Cha Cha. I don't even know what this means. If you haven't previously seen this picture that Lashify posted before, where they said meet Shannon and then meet Shanae, when you stack your Lashify lashes and get a little carried away, hashtag alter ego, and how this is super racist, well, the Lashify founder, Sahara Lottie, is responsible for this marketing, unfortunately. And she has a Facebook group called Lashify Live where she vented on all the backlash she got for the chat GBT generated post that she made. She said, I made these two hilariously silly AI images on chat GBT. When you stack and get a little crazy, apparently they are racist, i.e. insensitive. I didn't get it. And people were telling her, like, yeah, this is pretty racist. And she's like, okay, I get it now. I was so confused. I was trying to think of the name of Shannon, and I made Shanae. ChatGPT did the rest. I do wish instead of being a-holes on the internet, people would educate and say, dude, you might not know this, but this can be offensive, and tell someone why instead of snickering to be mean. We're all here to learn and be better. The vulture thing is just too much. Either you're racist or not. But people say stupid stuff all the time. I'm not sure they always go hand in hand. This just tells me she needs an actual marketing team who would approve this stuff. I think it's crazy she posted an Asian AI generated woman while she's saying all these Asian microaggressions pertaining to lash clusters, claiming that Lashify has lash cluster patents. And now they're suing small companies like You Cool Me just because they're selling lash clusters, and that their product is not the Chinese bootleg, and that they were the ones who created manga style lashes, not the imaginary people in Asia. And they were saying, stop trying to give credit to Chinese people for something an American immigrant invented. Meanwhile, they manufacture their lashes in a warehouse in China. So make all of this make sense.
Yeah, so any thoughts?
I mean, well, I feel like the listeners at home should know when she was like, I was trying to think of the TikToker didn't say the word stripper, but in her post she tried to say, like, I was trying to think of the stripper name for Shannon and I came up with Shanae. And it's like, that's also racist. Like, what are you fucking talking about?
What about strippers? Like, again, so people already, she was a grasshole for like taking down this story.
For having that up on her website. Like, what? That's fucking weird.
The website's still up. The videos where she's commenting and saying all this stuff are down, but the website, you can find like the counterfeits and patent pages with all those things. And what was happening was that she was commenting a lot of like anti-China, anti-Asia, like kind of making it even though she's Iraqi American.
Okay. That's what I was going to ask. I was like, what's her deal?
She's Iraqi American, but she's making this like counterfeit copyright thing and Iraqi, like, or an American business owner versus like a bootleg counterfeit Asian owned thing. And it's like, especially China and all this stuff, which is like, but still using Asian suppliers, which people haven't noticed.
Well, yeah, and especially it is weird that she created an AI image, and like to create that AI image must have put in like Asian woman with lashes versus without lashes. Like that must have been the prompt. So
yeah, and like making up names and stuff. So again, just she has a very unhinged whole like personality. Like she's been posting through it, fighting with people in comments for days. And then let's see, 5 days ago she posted an apology with the caption, we hear you, like heart. And we'll just read it real quick. It's very short, but it says,
and where did she post this? Like, oh, to TikTok.
To TikTok.
Right? So it's like text posted to TikTok. Love it.
Yes. To the beauty community and lash lovers, creators, critics, and casual strollers, we hear you and we want to be real with you. You may never shop with us, and that's okay. You're part of this conversation. We know how it looked, the legal talk, the sass back, the tone. It didn't land. We fought hard to protect what we built, but it came at the cost of perspective. That's on us. Lashify is an invention and we'll keep protecting it, but not at the cost of community. The space was built by lash lovers. You're the reason any of this matters. Whether you're calling us in or calling us out, we're listening, we're learning, learning and we're shifting course. We're not trying to win you over, just to show up better. With love, Sahara Lottie. And
I love the tone shift is so stark while still having that shit up on the website.
Well, and all of the comments are, did ChatGPT write this? You never said I'm sorry. Comments were reviewed by the creator. Shanae, like, ChatGPT hears you, don't worry. Like, so everyone's already coming at this thing like, you know, whatever.
No way. Yeah.
And people don't believe the thing. And also, like, you know, people are saying, like, you're engaging in, like, if you're talking about American entrepreneurship, you're engaging in anti-competitive behavior. You should be, you know, and that's kind of the ultimate thing of, like, if you were confident in your product, it wouldn't matter who's selling what.
Yeah, you wouldn't have to, like, be as litigious. I mean, you know, yeah, someone has a right to protect the patent that they have. Like, I think that she invented this technique? No, but she got the patent. Okay. But this, like, tone online, I just always think it's so funny when a company thinks it's going to be good to speak in this way as the company. Like, it's so funny to me.
And it's like, look, the thing is, people will buy your product and be loyal if it's a good product. So you don't have to worry about taking down all these competitors if at the end of the day you're offering something more premium or whatever.
Yeah.
And if you're not, if you're just offering shit from China, and not that China shit is bad, like, whatever, but if you're just offering it with, like, a 50% markup, then you're not standing out, and, like, that shouldn't be everyone else's problem.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's the, you know, for the crime of anti-competitive business behavior coming out, trying to out crazy Bethany Frankel and
the sass back
and the tone. I'm gonna say Lashify / Sahara Lottie. Go touch grass.
Guys, that's our episode.
Show.
Wow. What a great one. We'll be back in your feed soon. Remember to sign up for our Patreon. Follow us at Go Touch Grass Pod on everything. Follow me at Pandalise on Instagram and Elise Navidad on TikTok.
And until next time,
go touch grass. Beautiful.
Yay.
Beautiful.
Okay.